Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and today we're going to look at the Bowtech Insanity CPX. This bow was released in 2012, 2013 from Bowtech. Now, to start off with my history with Bowtech, I'm sorry it's cold. My history with Bowtech was, I was the Australian distributor for Bowtech, and I lost the distributorship. I was selling 700 Bowtechs a year, and a guy came along and said he'd sell 2,000. So they gave it to him. I think he sold 50. Not that I'm bitter, I think that's what he sold. He went broke 2 years later. And that's basically where Bowtech is still exists in Australia, but it's very small numbers. I don't know how it's really going in Australia. I haven't seen a Bowtech. This is the first Bowtech I've really seen for ages, so I thought I'd do a review on it. So this bow was traded into my store. It's basically the guy whose bow it was said he'd never shot the bow, he didn't like it when he got it, and he traded it on a PSE. So when I sold Bowtech, I thought Bowtech was a very revolutionary bow company, and at the time I was the second biggest Bowtech dealer in the world at 700 Bowtechs a year. And I mean, they were coming in by pallet load into my store, like pallet of Bowtechs. I have never seen anything like it. And I've been selling bows for 30 years and I've never seen anything like it. The demand was huge. They were revolutionary and everyone wanted one, and these things were just flying off my shelf, literally. In fact, I sold as many Bowtechs as PSEs, which is huge. When I lost Bowtech, my PSE sales actually doubled, so it didn't really cost me anything. And I don't have the warranties that I had with Bowtech, not that they probably want to hear that, but I had so many warranties. If I sold 700 Bowtechs in a year, I had 350 warranties in a year. With PSE, I get very few warranties, so it's not a bad position. Now, to me, I haven't seen a lot of Bowtech, so I don't really know what's happening. And before I did this review, I jumped on the Bowtech website and had a look at the current bows that Bowtech offer, and they still offer a lot of revolutionary products that are new to the industry. They now offer a cam system that can move left to right, where currently with cams you've got to shim them. Now, Bowtech always did this. They always had lots of cutting edge technologies, and you call it cutting edge or bleeding edge because sometimes the stuff was so new it kind of, when I say it failed. But some of the technologies which they had, which were on the bows which I used to sell, are in this bow. So I'm kind of interested in this bow, how it is, how I find this bow to shoot, and my thoughts on it. Now, I have not shot this bow. I have not shot a recent Bowtech. This is the first time in this video. So, you know, this is just my view. So the specs on this bow, I looked up the specs before I did this review. This bow is 32 inches axle to axle, 355 feet per second, 4.3 pounds, and I put it on a bow scale before doing this and it came in at around that. Brace height was 6 inches. Machine riser. It's a twin cam system, so yoke top and yoke bottom, so you can do the yoke tuning. And this system here is unique, and we're going to talk about that. And in fact, when I looked at the 2019 Bowtechs, they had this same sort of cam, the same sort of system still on them. They've got the same sort of cable guard, which I'll talk about. So to me, maybe Bowtech have actually slowed down in the development, maybe not, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of it. I haven't paid much attention to the company. So the first thing I want to talk about is this limb pivot here. So Bowtech first brought out the pivoting limb system on the Bowtech Guardian, I think it was. The Commander had the basic pivot in the middle. Now, one of them had a problem where they broke, and the cams would rip off and hit the person, and then Bowtech had to recall them. But that was actually after I had a few people who got hurt. So Bowtech's going to love me for saying that. It's truth. So this is what they've got now. The limb pivots in the middle. Now, I think this is a pretty good system. I don't know if it improves the system or not. At the time, Bowtech said it did because it's balancing here versus balancing there. other bow companies achieve a balanced limb flexing over the entire limb system through changing the thickness. And in fact, on this limb, you'll see it's thicker here and then thinner here. And that's to basically achieve the same result, to flex this limb evenly over the entire length so you don't get any fractures occurring in the limb. Now with the Bowtech limbs in the past, they've done laminates, they've done solid fiberglass. The laminate system they had issues with, where they put metal and fiberglass together. I think that failed, and I don't think they're running that anymore. I'm not sure what this system is. But what I'm going to pick on is these edges. These edges are sharp. They are like, they haven't rounded the edge at all. Now the problem with limbs, if you don't round the edge, if you knock them on anything, you'll get a splinter, and the splinter will run up the edge. Now that's not a warranty. If you splinter these limbs, that's not a warranty. If you bang it against something and that causes the splinter, like you bang this limb against a tree and it creates a little dent, that will run a slither up this side of it, and what you've got to do then is just hit it with sandpaper, I suppose, or try and get some spare limbs. Now I tried to get spare limbs from Bowtech for other Bowtechs I've got in my shop, and basically I can't. So you've got, I think I've got 3 or 4 Bowtechs in bits I can't fix. Anyway, so that system. So I think it'd be better if they rounded their limbs. I don't know whether they do or don't. Rounded limbs are pretty common on the market today. Hoyt are very straight, but not as straight as this. This is, it's like wood, you know, when they prepare wood for doors. If you keep the edge straight, then you're likely to dent it and you can't stick paint to it. So carpenter will round the edge basically off with some sandpaper to create a bigger surface area to stop the splintering. So I like the yoke system here. This system here with the yokes, where it's kind of built in, this is unique. Now Bowtech still uses, I had a look at their current Bowtechs, they still use this system here, and I think that's, I don't know if it's good or bad. It's more complex than the current existing system, and I think as you pull this back, it actually, this rotates the outer yoke, and I don't know if that's good or bad. It's their sales pitch. Rotating modules. Now in past Bowtechs, you don't need a bow press. You can see there's no part of the cable touching this little yoke here. So just move the screws back and forwards. A string stop just there. So you've got a string stop, not a limb stop. Bowtech used to have limb stops. I'm just checking to make sure there's none down here. No, there's not, just a cable stop there. Now this little thing here, see how it's got a hole through? I think what Bowtech did with this was you pull this back a little bit, you put a rod through there, and then you can let it down and, you know, twist your peep sight, take your string off, replace your string. Now I don't like the idea of putting a rod against this metal here under pressure. Don't like it. I'm pretty sure that's what it's for. I don't like it. I would never suggest doing it. But anyway, the rotating module, it's got a little peg on the side here to lock it in place. That's a good system. The cable guard, now they still run this cable guard system. It's basically a piece of fiberglass with rollers here, so as you pull this back it flexes in. They still use it. Other companies have used a similar system. PSC used it. Now they've gone back to an old system, just a straight fiberglass rod. But I've noticed Bowtech still use this. The reason why companies went away from this was sometimes this will flex in too far and get into your sight picture. So as you're drawing this back, you see your sight there, these cables will come into your sight here and you won't be able to do anything about it. So string stop down the bottom. Now the grip on this bow, the grip is very rounded and it's as narrow as any bow I've ever felt. What you normally find with bows is that sort of kind of flat here. This is very, very rounded and very rounded this way. And in fact, when I hold this, I feel like it's going to hurt my hand as far as create a pressure point right on that spot there. So that will be interesting to see how I find that. What else I'm going to say about that? These are big cams. Now with a big cam you normally find them smooth to draw, but because of this big oval shape I'm going to guess this is a very harsh draw cycle. I'm going to guess that there's not much let off to get the speed. So I'm going to guess it's not 90%, I'm going to guess it's 70%. But besides that, I think Bowtechs look cool. So I think it's a cool looking bow, and I think Bowtech have always made a cool looking bow, and their bows have always shot well. Now, 2-piece quivers go on the side, which I love. They generally come in a couple of colors like black and camo. What else was I going to say? Now, I was trying to, this is a 70-pound bow, and I was trying to get it down to 60 to shoot it through a chronograph. So I was winding it down, and basically I found the bow was 63 pounds. I was like, okay, let's just wind it down one turn up here. So I wind it down one turn, and that's 62 pound. So I wind it down another turn, it's still 62. Wind it down another turn, it's down 62 or 61. So 3 full rotations of the limb bolts maybe adjusted this bow 1 pound. So it basically didn't budge it. And you can see how far out this limb bolt is. Now at that point I didn't want to adjust it anymore. There's a little screw in there so you can see how far the limbs are out, but I didn't want to adjust it because it looked like it was out a long way. So generally when I shoot a bow, it's going to be at 60 pounds at 29 inches through the chronograph, just to create some sort of comparison. I don't know what the draw length is on this bow, so I suppose we're going to try it out. Oh, this is interesting. Here, see here the cable, see that little thing there? It's not a Torx, it's a special bolt, so you can't loosen it and you can't tighten it and loosen it. Interesting that they've used that. There's no spot here for a lower mount rear stabilizer, so if you're going to fit a rear stabilizer, it's going to come off the front stabilizer. So besides that, now what are these bows selling for? Now I think, so what did I pay for this? And he's probably watching my video, so he'll probably know better than me what I paid for it. I think he said they sell for about $1,600. I think that's right. I think I paid $900, $700, $800, that sort of money for it, because I get kind of confused in the, I paid $700, I sell it for $900, but I'm going to give the government $100, so I make $100. If I sell it for $900, that's the kind of realm I'm in. So I might have paid $7, I might have paid $8. Anyway, it's been sitting on my shelf for about 6 months. So what I did is I jumped on eBay and said, what are these things selling for second hand? Now there was one on there for $175 with no bids. That's US dollars. The other ones seem to be going for around $400 US. I'm gonna guess Australian dollars around $600-700. So how does that compare to a new one? So when you buy second hand, you don't have a warranty. So if this bow was to break, it's just tough luck. I don't know how you go with your warranty anyway with Bowtech, so maybe it's okay now, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm not a Bowtech dealer anymore, so I can't tell you. But basically back in my day, if I sold the product, I was responsible for it, so I had to wear the warranties. So what would I like to get this bow for second hand? Like I said, I don't know if I've got this for $900, $700. Hasn't sold for a while, so I'll probably drop the price after doing this video. But if you get a bow which is like this, the strings are in good condition, so the strings don't need to be replaced. Depends how I find this bow too, but let's say this is let's compare it to a good top end bow. We're going to probably guess you're going to pay $1,300-1,400 Australian dollars for a good top end bow with machine riser. So you will probably want to get second hand at around $700 kind of dollars. That's where you want to get it for, in good condition. That's where I want to get a good second hand bow for. So with that, let's shoot this and see what I think of it, and let's see what the grip's like. Okay, so I'm going to go through a bit of background before I shoot this. So other bows I've shot, full throttle's been the fastest. That's 370 IBO, which I still own, a full throttle. I owned a PSC forgot the name of it. I'm going to say an Insanity, but it's not. It's guy came in my shop today with one. Anyway, that was a pretty fast bow. Now the fast bows are generally hard to shoot, and when I say hard to shoot, they are more aggressive. If you do something wrong, they're more severe on you, less forgiving to shoot. They're harder on your body to shoot. Now the arrows I shoot through the Chronograph, these are gold tip velocity 400s with a 90 grain point. It's the same arrows I shoot in all my tests. It weighs 327 grains. So now the fast bows are generally doing about 315. If this is a 355 and the draw length is 29, I don't know what the draw length is, so it's going to be mystery draw. I would expect 310, and I truly do expect a fast speed with this bow and these cams, so it's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what the draw cycle's like. Now it's interesting, so this I know is 62 pounds. It starts off light. It's not hard. I shot the Hyper Edge, was my last review, and that started off hard. This starts off light, and the Hyper Edge actually got a bit easier as you drew it back. This starts off kind of easy, so it's easy that now it's getting really really hard. So it starts off easy and it's like, oh, okay, that's hurting. So let's it's just interesting how different bows draw differently. So that Hyper Edge was really easy to draw. Okay, so now I'm going to hit the valley about here. Whoa, I'm going to shoot this because I don't want to shoot. .316, that's fast. So that draw cycle, you know how some bows draw back and they've got a big valley? This has got no valley. It draws back and it's like poof, straight off, holding. Very solid when you get back there. Now I did have questions about how rounded this grip was. I didn't feel any pressure there. I definitely feel more pressure when I hold it than when I'm drawing. 316 is an impressive speed. There was no vibration in the shot. I thought the bow was quiet. Nice bow to shoot. Oh, just there it's like, oh my goodness. Oh. That one was 307. So the first one was 316, then was 307. Now he's got this little thing here. That's obviously what he used for a kisser button. That's going floating around there. We'll just get rid of that. We'll move that up there. Let's shoot another one. So the shot itself is really nice. Draw cycle not so nice. So how am I going to rate the draw cycle? Now there was a Bowtech that I shot which wasn't nice as far as the draw cycle. The full throttle is very aggressive, the draw cycle. This is aggressive also. I'm going to say it's not as harsh as the full throttle. It's not as, so the full throttle was replaced with the PSE Expedite, which is a 360 feet per second bow. I'm going to say the Expedite is a much smoother draw cycle, even with the fast let-off modules on it. Then this where it drops off at the end and it builds up. Oh. 315. So I've got 317, 315, 308, 307. When you're back there, it's nice. When you shoot the shot, it's nice. Drawing it, not so nice. .317. Now, on the draw cycles, the Hyper Edge that I just shot, the Hoyt Hyper Edge, that was a 60 pound bow. This is 62, so bear in mind it is 2 pounds heavier than the other bows. It does feel 29 inches to me on the draw cycle. The Hoyt Hyper Edge felt like about a 53, 55 pound bow from memory from my review. This feels every bit of 65. Every bit. It's not 65, but it feels every bit of 65 to draw. It creates pressure. I can still feel it there in my shoulder. And normally I shoot 60 all the time for target, and I really don't feel any pressure in my shoulders at all. I feel it with this bow. I'm just going to shoot one more, and then we're going to go and shoot some groups and see how well I group with it. .315, so probably around 315 will be fair. This bow is 2 pounds heavier than the normal bows I test, so probably around a 310. So it's still fast. It's, you know, this is rated at 355. It's fair at 355. Absolutely, it's one of the faster bows made. Feels nice. The draw cycle's solid. It's very much like other bows. I'm going to compare the Hoyt with the aggressive cam, their turbo cam. It's very much like that. It's very much like the old Decree from PSE with the fast cams, not the slow cams. Other bows that it's like, basically it's like the speed bows. So if you've shot a speed bow before, that's what this is like to shoot, but it's dead in the hand afterwards. It's beautiful once you shoot it. It's just drawing it back. You just got to be able to draw this thing back. So with that, let's go and see how well I shoot with this. I've got to sight the bow in first. I'm going to shoot a couple of shots to sight in, and then let's sight in. Now it's not a great day, there's a bit of wind, but I'm pretty sheltered back there, so I think it'll shoot okay. Okay, so how do I expect to shoot with the Bowtech Insanity CPX? Actually, I think it'll shoot pretty good. I think I wouldn't be surprised if I throw a couple of loose arrows, because I tend to shoot better with bigger brace heights. I tend to shoot better with softer drawing bows. But when I get back there and actually hold it, it's a very solid draw. So I think actually I'll shoot okay. So let's see how it goes. Now I am getting a bit of movement through the wind. Now when I draw this bow back, just before it hits that valley where it drops, it moves my sight pin around a lot. So that shot there, I could actually feel the roundness of the handle, so I definitely prefer squarer handles. But it did feel good for the first few shots, so we'll see how that progresses as I shoot a few more shots. The draw cycle is not easy, not enjoying it. And this is the thing, like I own a full throttle and I'm not going to sell it, but it's not an enjoyable bow to shoot. I mean, it's cool to shoot a fast bow, but for your everyday bow, the bow you shoot every day where you're shooting lots and lots of arrows, it's easier to have a bow that's easier to draw back, that's nice and smooth. And maybe the more I shoot this, the smoother it'll get, because I'll get used to that lump and I'll get used to that draw stop. I'll get used to how it drops off in the valley. Whoa, see, that one was wild. And that's what I expect. That your good shots will go good, your bad shots will be more wild. Now with this narrow grip, I actually rather like it, but the roundness, I'd probably like it flatter there. Now notice in the 2019 Bowtechs, they've got little clip-on grips somehow to change the height and all that sort of stuff. I'm not sure how that works. I don't sell Bowtech, so ooh. It's, to me, I'm getting a bit of this thing happening. I don't know if that's because of the wind. That's a robin hood right there. I like these biter knocks because they're really solid. So what you'll find with the speed bows in general, that your good shots are good, but those bad shots are just so harsh on you. And for shooting like an indoor round or something like that, or a target round, like, you can do it, you've just got to shoot it really, really well. I remember, I'm going to go back to the story all the time. I'm at Vegas and there's a guy there with the Matthews Triax, and I shot the Triax terribly, and he's there shooting 294s out 300s with a hunting setup with the Triax, and I'm like, have you tried target setup? And he's like, nope. I'm like, you so should. Because if you can shoot that score with that bow, I'd hate to see what you shoot with a target bow, but he's like, no, I never shot a target bow. It's like, you should try it. Actually, see, I think some of these, the light down there, I don't know if the camera's working down the other end because it's turns on, turns off. But it's very light down there. I can see where the arrows are going, and they're looking pretty good. Whoa, I didn't even expect that one to go. So my summary of this, you'll see lots of people shoot these speedboats and they just yank them back. I like to draw back slowly, and that puts more pressure on my body. So if I was going to shoot a bow like this, I'd shoot it at a lower poundage. So one of the issues with this bow, machine limb pockets, which I kind of didn't dress over, it was very easy to wind this up or down. Some bows are really hard to wind up or down. This bow is really easy. You see he's put little bits of paint there to show that if it moves or not. If you're going to shoot a bow like this, just be aware of that it is harder on you, and the harder shots are harder. So it is what it is. Let's go down and see the group. Okay, so I'm here at the target. Now you can see I can't get my fingers around the group, but the height wise is actually really, really good. I've just got to spread left to right. I've obviously got this one arrow at the top which wasn't great, but you can see, like, I shot, well, besides this one arrow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 arrows. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I got 5 10s out of however many arrows that was. A 9, a 9, 2 8s, and that was an 8. But that's not bad. It's more of a group than I get with some bows, but like, I'm pretty happy with that with this bow. And like I said, there is a fair bit of wind here pushing me around. So overall, pretty good. Sorry, I've just got sun in my face. So yeah, overall it's pretty good. Just a harder draw cycle. The Bowtech bow in itself, I think it's a nice bow, so if you can get it at the right price, then go for it. Now with the new Bowtechs, obviously ask the dealer about warranty and how they go getting parts if you have a problem with the bow. So if you have a problem, let's say the limbs, you have a problem, ask the dealer, can they replace it? What's the warranty like on the product now? The company's been taken over about 3 times since I was a dealer of Bowtech. So ask them what it's like. And yeah, but nice bow to shoot. And with all bows, always try and shoot them before you buy them, so you can have a feel and see what you think of a bow before you buy it. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and the more shots you take, the easier it'll get, and the less wild ones you'll get out to the left like that. Thanks for watching. Bye.